I posted about this a while back, but in case you missed it, I did get COVID very, very badly. Yes, I'm up to date on all my vaccinations and boosters, which of course decreases the severity of COVID and decreases the chance to end up in the hospital. But at the same time, I've got a kidney transplant and I'm on immunosuppressants to keep my immune system suppressed to stop my body from rejecting the kidney. And that hugely increases the severity of COVID and increases the chances of ending up in the hospital. So by rough back of the envelope math, the two kind of cancel each other out. And what I tell myself anyway is that I got hit about as hard as the first generation of people with COVID in New York City back in 2020. Remember when the hospitals were all overflowing in New York? That hard. So yeah, it hit me a lot harder than the average person, but there are reasons for it. And so I'm lucky to have pulled out of it with as few side effects as I have. So I'm here in the subalpine in Yoho National Park at the British Columbia-Alberta border and been hiking for a few days. And honestly, going uphill at the initial response has been really discouraging. I feel like a little old man with emphysema who's been smoking for 60 years, shuffling my way up this hill. It's just one foot in front of the other. I have to take breaks. I have to watch old, fat, out of shape people blow past me. And it's a real check. It's a real challenge to the ego. And then I kind of swing back and I go the other way and I'm like, okay, dude, back in June, you had COVID so bad that you ended up in the hospital multiple times and it destroyed your lungs. And that 6 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, you could barely walk for an hour on flat ground. Now here you are trying to climb 1,000 meters. I did climb 1,000 meters. It took a hell of a long time with way too many breaks, but I did it. I've also had to remind myself that a month ago in jiu-jitsu, I could sort of train, but I wasn't training. I was going into a position and doing 2 reps of a technique, and then I had to take a break. Whereas a week ago and 3 days ago, first times I've actually managed to spar in 2 months, 2.5 months. First time that I've actually been able to roll with intention. And yeah, I got tired, but it was so much better than it was even a few weeks ago. And it's just part of the comeback. And I try to think back to all the other times I've had to come back, whether that's a kidney transplant, that is a physiological kick in the ass. That takes a long time to come back from. The double kidney removal, the double nephrectomy that happened a year later. It's a big surgery. The recovery from that took a long time. And then again, a recovery from sepsis, which is a complication from all that. And then again, a hip replacement. It's like, I've been here before. And this, I have to remind myself of that I've been here before. I've been knocked down. I've been dragged through the dirt and had to build up again. And it's easy to forget in the heat of the moment. You're like, I suck. I'm never, this is ridiculous. But you just have to remind yourself that you've been here before, that other people have been here before, that other people have come back from this and way worse injuries. So it's kind of balancing both things. It's acknowledging that, yeah, the moment sucks, but you're doing exactly the right thing to get better. The exact right thing for my lungs at this point is to try and climb these mountains slowly. It wouldn't have been the right thing a month ago. A month ago, it probably would have set me back by weeks. But now I think it is the right time. Now, typically, when people are beating themselves up, and I was doing this today, and I was doing this yesterday, I was doing this the day before, they're comparing their current condition to their maximal condition in every area. They're comparing their endurance, their strength, their technique right now to their endurance at the time when they had the best endurance. Maybe that was when they were 20. And they're comparing their strength, their bench, say, their squat, to their maximum bench and their maximum squat. And they might have done that at age 25 or 30. And they're comparing their technique, whatever they're doing, be it jiu-jitsu, be it skiing, be it whatever, to the time they had their best technique, the time that they were most dialed in. That might have been when they were 35. So it's an unfair comparison. You're comparing all aspects of yourself to various incarnations and various iterations of yourself during times when you were better. You got to do apples to apples. You got to say, you got to compare yourself maybe to like right before the surgery. So for me, a valid comparison is not comparing my endurance now to when I was 30 and getting ready for an ultramarathon. It's comparing it to right before I had COVID. And so that's the sort of intermediate goal, is to get back to where I was before this fucking virus ripped out my lungs and put them in the trash. You have to pick the comparison points that serve you. There's no point in picking impossible comparison points. There's no point in going, well, compared to the world's best marathoner, I suck. Dude, you're 50 years old and you're 200 pounds. You're not going to have the same time as a marathoner. Dude, compared to the world's best powerlifter, my squat sucks. Yeah. Are you taking $1,000 worth a month of growth hormone? Have you been physiologically blessed with just the exact right spine and hip configuration? And have you done nothing else other than powerlift? And have you been lucky enough to not get injured? You got to pick your comparison points. So when you're coming back from an injury, when you're coming back from an illness, the logical comparison points to compare yourself to right before that injury, right before that illness, not to some magical time in the past when you were the strongest, the fastest, the most endurance. That's not a correct sentence, I know. When you had the best endurance and when you had the sharpest technique. Pick the comparison points that serve you and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. For me, today, quite literally, but for other people, that could be more metaphorical. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. You know what you have to do to get better. Just do that. And try not to beat yourself up for too long or too often. You're going to do it. It's going to be inevitable. You are going to be going, man, this sucks. I suck. Everything sucks. That is just part of the process. You can be wavering back and forth between alternate paradigms. One paradigm is that you suck. The other paradigm is, no, you're doing exactly the right thing that you need to do to not suck. But good luck when you're trying to come back from whatever it is to getting to wherever you want to be.